Hi everybody, I'm the inspirational and bald Andy Murray from What Culture.
And I've been instructed to make sure this stays at a tight 15 minutes. Welcome to Wrestling News.
And coming up today, we've got stories about wrestling.
And indeed, more wrestling.
This is the news. We are going to kick things off. We're going to slide straight into last night's Monday Night Raw and its DMs. It was a very eventful episode of WWE's flagship show with all kinds of crazy stuff going on, particularly in the first hour. We're going to break all of that down for you, but we're going to start off by talking about Mr. Paul Heyman and his potential influence on what went down throughout Raw's 3 hours. Looking at it, you might kind of suggest that the differences were made because perhaps he's taken more of a hands-on role already as the executive director. But this might not be the case because according to PW Insider, and this is a direct quote, there was no real discernible difference backstage with regards to Heyman and how the show was produced. So they also go on to say that Heyman's ideas will be implemented slowly into the show. It'll be a gradual transition rather than a full-on scorched earth in a couple of weeks. And that, yeah, I mean, that's still quite encouraging because Raw felt kind of fresh last night at various points. And if that's what happens when Heyman barely has his toe in the water, I'm quite excited.
Well, myself and Aaron Nicholas talked about this in yesterday's news. Said, what can we expect from the first Raw of this Heyman era? And a lot of the comments were like, I don't know if is he actually starting this one? I mean, I thought it wasn't until further down the line. But this is Paul Heyman, you've got to remember. This is WWE. If he is given any kind of a role, whatever, in the running of a show, he's going to be doing what he can as soon as he possibly can. And we saw all over Twitter last night, everyone was like, this feels different, this feels more cohesive, this feels more exciting, this feels more dangerous, pun very much intended. And I think even if he's not directly backstage, if he's not calling all the shots, if he's not in Renee Young's earpiece all night, it doesn't really matter if he's just sowing the seeds, if he's just giving people advice. You think he wouldn't have been on the phone to people going, look, I want you to do a bit of this week, I want you to do a bit of this, I want you to do a bit of this. He doesn't have to be in the building necessarily or necessarily on talkback to be making his presence felt. And it certainly had his presence all over it.
Absolutely, little snippets here and there. Why don't you tell us all about that opening half hour, Adam Cleary?
Well, the opening half hour, you may have heard a few times of this new exciting era of WWE coming. Usually comes with it a new look, a new visual, occasionally a new stage set. We all remember, don't we? That big fist through the glass wall that we always try and unlock on 2K now as soon as we get the chance. But I think if those rumours about Raw getting a new stage set are true, that might be getting expedited somewhat as Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley made sweet love to the existing one. There was a leather match, it was just two lumps of meat in a washing machine. We've seen their kind of matches before, and it culminated with the stage being absolutely, well, not absolutely destroyed, but certainly a large chunk of it getting obliterated. Now, WrestleVotes today, who, as we always say, take with a pinch of WrestleVotes, they have said that they have heard that there is definitely a new stage in production, and this could be the catalyst WWE needs in order to sort of push that forward, and we could be getting it as early as next week. However, I would posit the theory, what if they just left it broken for ages? Just to we've seen our office. Any workplace in the world, something gets broken, doesn't immediately get fixed, does it? It gets kind of, is someone going to deal with that? Can someone please deal with that? Then you could use that and reduce Heyman. The place is falling apart here on Raw. It's going to take Paulie Heyman to fix it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool if they just left that massive hole where the two big lads beefed their way through. And how about every single week, Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman just pick it apart bit by bit.
Another bit, yeah.
Bobby Lashley suplexes Braun through a massive hole in the stage next week. Another part of the LED boards comes down until eventually the whole thing collapses and we get a nice shiny new one. Now, I think anything that freshens up the general aesthetic and the look of Raw and SmackDown is a really good thing. So, yeah, give us a new stage. And while we're at it, why not bring back special stage designs for pay-per-views? Everything looks the bloody same, just with different colours. It's kind of boring. But in general, I think it's safe to say that last night's Raw, the first part of it at least, definitely had kind of a different feel. It had a different energy to it. It was a bit more chaotic. We got them literally exploding through the LED board. We got Corey
Mori
literally saying, holy shit, on commentary. Two guys got hospitalised in the first 15 minutes, for goodness sake.
Hospitalised as well, not sent to a medical facility.
Exactly. It's all very exciting, and I can't wait
I have to see
how it all pans out.
The reason I look like this, I was at the midnight screening for Spider-Man on our other nerd channel, and as I was sitting there waiting for it to start, I was scrolling through Twitter, and all the positivity about Raw was like overwhelming. It wasn't just like the Hamlets of this world, it wasn't just the fans of this world, it was like you could see wrestlers were like, wow, this already feels different. And when it came out of the screening, that had been tempered somewhat. It was like, well, obviously it's still Raw, we got what we got this and we got that. But that initial wave of positivity, if you are looking to make an impact with these appointments, which there's no other reason you'd make them than to make an impact, that's the best way to do it. Like, get people talking in the first 30 minutes, get them talking about positive things, get them talking about things that are either returning that they like or new things they weren't expecting, like two giant men having a relatively good match and then putting each other through $1 million LED board.
I love the match. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's very good. It's just two big beefy boys just slapping the piss out of each other, and then they go through the LED board. What more could you want? But we've been too positive for these first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
shall we
lower
the tone a little bit? Shall we give the comment section something to complain about? What culture being negative again? Here we go. We've got a good reason for it, though. Remember that little rule that came in to play? It was a couple of weeks ago. You know, we don't want any more wrestling during commercials. No more of that. We're going to introduce an abundance of 2 out of 3 falls and match restarts and all kinds of other contrived nonsense so that wrestlers aren't wrestling during commercial breaks. Well, it's not like WWE to go back on the word. It's not like Vince McMahon to almost immediately change his mind on a radical shift. And, well, they broke it last night, didn't they? The stupid idiots.
One week.
The stupid idiots
managed 1 week.
barely lasted a week. What happened was, it was during the Elias versus Miz 2 out of 3 falls match. These 2 out of 3 falls matches, which, by the way, are supposed to, separate the falls out so that there's no wrestling. There was wrestling during the commercial. They posted it, WWE that is, posted it to their official Twitter account last night, along with a 2-minute video clip. The caption, "The action didn't stop during the commercial break between Mike the Miz and I Am Elias as they battled it out in a 2 out of 3 falls match on Raw."
A full 2-minute clip of wrestling on their Twitter account isn't out of the ordinary.
No.
But it's not something they do all the time.
No.
Which implies to me, do you think they've accidentally done that and they've been like, right, we're coming back from commercial break, tell them to restart, and someone's like, they're actually just they've just been wrestling for 2 minutes. Oh, we said we wouldn't. What can we do? Can we tweet that? We need to tweet that out straight away. If I'd said apologies instead of exclusive, that would have been fine for me.
If it was an oversight, fair enough, but I think the way it's phrased and the way it's presented suggests no. It's just like, this is a company that broke the wild card rule on the first night. Vince McMahon then changed it. Since then, we've had 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 different wrestlers crossing over on the show when it's supposed to be 4. We also had those changes the other week where Raw's first hour going forward was supposed to be in a darkened arena with a grittier feel. Well, they scrapped that after a week as well. What the hell?
You can't get too bogged down in the rules of professional wrestling because ultimately, what kind of a life is that?
No.
How many hours in the day are there? However, when you are explicitly presented with a set series of rules designed to influence the way you are consuming the product, like, right, every episode of Raw and SmackDown, look out for 4 superstars. I mean, 5 superstars. Here are 7 superstars crossing the. It's just. Don't do that. If you they don't have to not have wrestling during the commercial breaks.
Exactly.
They've been doing it for years. It's a gripe of some people, but it's not the end of the world. But if you're gonna say you're not gonna do it, just don't do it. It's not even their biggest slight faux pas on social media of the evening, though, was it? I'm just gonna get all the grumbles out of the way. This isn't a grumble.
Yeah, we can tie this in with the Street Profits debut, I guess.
See, just the seamless links. This was more of a reluctant, like, oh dear pop, which is one of the. If you had to rank all the pops you get, it's the guttural sick pop. Like, that's the best pop. But up there in the top 5 is the pop. And the Street Profits, as you mentioned, made their debut on Monday Night Raw. We're not sure if that's going to be a full-time thing yet. Early indications are it's probably not, given that they're the reigning NXT Tag Team Champions. And you can't just keep bringing up all of NXT's champions, especially when these two have only just had the belts a matter of weeks.
Question, Paul. Obviously, when the War Raiders, or whatever the hell they're called these days, the Viking Raiders,
the Space Raiders,
the Space Invaders, when
the Monster Munch,
when the Space Monsters were brought up to the main roster, they were rechristened the Viking Experience for 1 week. What kind of rename are the Street Profits going to get?
Crime Time, possibly. No,
Wow.
Knowing what Vince is like, he'll probably just go, we've still got all of our t-shirts still, slap them, let make these two wear.
Crime Time 2. The new Crime Time.
Crime Time was spelt with 2s. Crime 2 time. Anyway, so they're on the main roster for one night only, we believe. And obviously, as you would do, you want to make a song and dance across all your platforms. You've got incredible social media reach if you're WWE. And hey, a lot of people might not know who they are. They've only been in NXT, not even that long on the main NXT card. It's probably a smart idea to introduce them to your main audience across social media. So of course they did. And WWE's Instagram account, oh my God, Welcome the NXT Tag Team Champions, AEW, here on Raw. Now, I've dissected this through my little Twitter mistake machine, which obviously I have to own for legal reasons, and bloop, 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 bloop. They've meant to say, are here on Raw. However, it is auto-corrected to AEW because whoever sent that tweet has been using the term AEW so much, it's embedded himself in his phone's dictionary.
Good.
That is not a good look, because if nothing else, as well as that being funny, that means whoever tweeted that talks about AEW a lot.
Yeah.
Which I quite, this is a little tidbit of just little nuance, bit of nugget you can take from that. I really like that.
Incoming.
Whoops.
Yeah, they're going to get a little slap on the wrist for that, aren't they? Not very nice, not very good, but I will say that the latest episode of Being the Elite contained at least 3 WWE jabs broadcast last night, including one where Brandy Rhodes was watching the TV at a perfectly normal, straight human being angle. I think Brandon Cutler or someone else came in and corrected her so that she was standing sideways. Good. All kinds of stuff all over their platforms, but WWE don't usually make errors like this. They're supposed to be professional, they're supposed to be the big leagues. Either way, I would prefer my AEW mentions to be really petty and really upfront.
Yeah, same.
And really stupid. In the line of Cody smashing that throne at Double or Nothing. Give me that nonsense on WWE TV, please, not these.
No, not a typo.
Clubs. Let's wrap things up on Raw. We're going to talk about. We should have talked about this first because it's pretty big news.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, right? He turned heel, the big man. He has, for the past few weeks, he's been getting kind of annoyed with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, his old buddies. Says, you're not the old guys you used to be, you're failing, you're losing all these matches in like 2 minutes, you're useless, you're stupid, you're bald. Well, the tables were turned this week. AJ found himself in the firing lines. Gallows and Anderson effectively said, well, you had a lot of trouble beating Ricochet last week, and I'm not sure you can actually beat him for the title. Anderson even said, actually, if you can beat him, I'll put my hot Asian wife on the line. Big stakes. Big bad stakes. Well, fortunately, that didn't need to be the case because AJ ended up losing to Ricochet in the main event. Although there was a restart, AJ thought he had pinned Ricochet. He thought he was United States champion, but Ricochet's foot was under the ropes. Didn't count. Restart. Ricochet wins. Afterwards, Gallows and Anderson, they get on the apron, they say, we want to see the old AJ. And the old AJ comes out. They absolutely batter the poor lad. There was a Styles clash off the top rope. Finally, they closed with a big pose. They threw up the 2-sweet in the middle of the ring. Looks like the club is back. AJ Styles is a heel. This was a great angle. AJ needed a reboot. Double win.
I've not got much to add to that, only if you do like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, this is great news for me.
Jesus.
Plus, you can also add to the fact Gallows and Anderson have been two of the most talked about one-to-way superstars for a while now. Pretty much anybody who is a competent tag team.
Amazing transition incoming. Continue.
Thank you very much. Anybody who's a competent tag team, it's been, oh, well, will they leave? Will they go back to New Japan? Could there be a space for them in AEW? I think they're going to throw them together with Styles for a big heel turn and what looks like being a good push off the back of that. No reason to.
Absolutely. And to transition into our Twitter questions rather beautifully, the first one comes from Matt Ryan / Aussie Dead, frequent contributor. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
He asks, with the reunion of the club on Raw, do you see it as a possible way of making the Good Brothers possibly making their decision to stay in WWE? Or possibly see them go elsewhere when their contracts are up?
Can I just shock you? I no longer think that. I changed my mind. No, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I think pretty much you're going to have to, could be another Heyman thing. If you're going to be in this much charge of the show, you've got to look at like not just the production issues the show's got, not just the viewership issues, you've got a roster to keep happy. You know, there is a lot of talk about stars not happy with their spot, not happy with their push, not happy with how they're being used. And if it's just, okay, well, what do you want to do? Well, we just want to be involved in something. We want to feel like we're part of TV. We want to do something we can commit to creatively. Okay, how about put you back with Styles? You can do a heel run. You can be a bit of a faction. We'll get you involved in some six-man matches off the back and whatnot. Yep, great. Sounds great. Well, there you go. Simple enough. We'll turn him heel. There you go.
Here's your boys. Yeah, no, it's classic Heyman. He is very close with his wrestlers. The Heyman guys, people who work with him closely and have done over the years, are very, very loyal to him. They speak very highly of him as a motivator and a locker room leader. And when you watch WWE specials on the network, you'll always see him, consoling people backstage, offering creative ideas, kind of an arm over the shoulder type figure. He's going to be really, really good at stuff like this. And for that reason, appointing him is a very, very smart move. If he's able to keep the Good Brothers around, that is a win, because it was reported a few months ago that they turned down a multi-million-dollar
multi-million pound coin?
Yeah, they turned down a lot of money. They were going to be Scrooge McDuckin, and they said, no, we'd rather be But no, I think so too. I think this will definitely be a nice little sweetener. They probably love the road lifestyle, They're a couple of good brothers living up in the USA.
After all.
And they have top banter, and they probably just like hanging out with Uncle Alan. So yeah, good stuff. Second question comes from Another legend of the channel here, me the 6, you the 9. Love that.
To Mr. and Mrs. the 9, a son, me the 6.
Here we go. You, me at 6'9". If you had
Nice.
if you had to cancel one gimmick pay-per-view, which one would you choose? And if you needed to create a new gimmick pay-per-view or bring one back, which one would you choose?
Do I class the Saudi Arabia things as gimmicks?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to cancel all the oil money gimmick pay-per-views, please and thank you. Or just every C-level one that's merely repeats of ones we've had before. And we talked about this the other day. I know you think it sucks. I love King of the Ring.
I like King of the Ring. I like it.
I want it back.
I just think they'd ruin it.
They would. The only thing I hate about King of the Ring is the fact that everybody has to adopt the King gimmick for a year after. I hate that. Just let them be like, I won this awesome tournament.
Because everyone knows I'm the king. I think that if we're going to cancel one, I would say TLC because I don't want chair matches.
Yeah, stair matches.
It
gets a bit.
Stair matches.
The thing about those like tables, ladders, and chairs matches individually, as well as TLC matches, is a lot of what can be done in those matches has been done to an extent. Like especially with the way WWE produces its matches for PG, a lot of what we're ever going to see in those we've seen before. Money in the Bank's great because you put that many men into it. There's always something fresh. There's that many new ideas. But the matches which make up the gimmicks for that, you don't really see anything you've not seen before. And I think you get a lot of superstars getting put into these matches and they're like, what do I like? They've got no idea what to do with themselves. The weapons are a bit of an afterthought and they're not really used properly. Like, I keep going back to the Alexa Bliss kendo stick match.
Oh,
that was just like,
that was horrific.
Kendo stick on a pole.
Yeah.
They're not going to use weapons properly, so let's just not.
So as far as the gimmick pay-per-view I would like to see added, I'm going to go with the Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
An entire pay-per-view of it.
8 matches, Judy Bagwell on all the forklifts. You can have, it doesn't need to be the same match, well, you can spice it up. You can have an extra high forklift, you can have a little toy forklift, you can have multiple Judy Bagwells on multiple forklifts.
You can have sharks around the bottom of one of the poles.
So many possibilities. One of them could be in a flaming cell for absolutely no reason. There's a worrying red light on the camera. I guess that means we have to hurry up. Final question comes from Rico Reds. Is Ricochet, and this is quite a big one, is Ricochet the best high flyer ever? I mean, as far as skill and maneuverability in the air, not accomplishments.
No.
No.
He's probably the best high flyer currently on WWE television.
Oh, 100%.
But I think if you watch 205 Live, there's the stuff that gets done on there.
Flippy dippy doodads.
Yeah, like it's the best one on the main roster, certainly, and he's probably one of the most important ones in wrestling of the last 10 years, I would say. But the best ever?
I think he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and make a list because we do that elsewhere on the channel. But I love the flippy dippy doodads. I get in trouble every time I call flippity doodadays and all that stuff. But you know, like it's top stuff. I like my wrestling to have lots of action, and the high flyers bring that to the table. As far as the best in the world at the moment goes, he's transitioning away from the high-flying style and more towards a more bruising approach to professional wrestling as his body kind of, that style takes its toll on his body.
Have to, yeah.
But Will Ospreay, for me, is not only the best wrestler in the world at the moment, but also, I guess, by default, the best high flyer. As far as all time goes, it's pretty hard to beat Rey Mysterio for me, but perhaps Ricochet, he deserves to be in that conversation. He does stuff I've never seen before. Another one, Rey Fenix, does things I've never seen before in almost every single match, and that's difficult.
I will say, if I was a kid watching WWE right now, I would genuinely believe Ricochet was a superhero.
Yeah.
I would genuinely believe that.
He's a video game character, isn't he?
Yep.
Anyway, to wrap things up, and finally, I forgot to find and finally, so that's it.
And finally, it's actually quite a short, breezy, brisk news video. That's your present this week.
Just a quick 18 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be back this afternoon for the hashtag Good After News. Get your questions in for that. In your own time, I guess, but I wouldn't hold on too long because we'll be recording it relatively soon. And by the time this goes out, the gap will probably be very small.
The big leg will have dropped.
In fact, rush yourself. Do it as soon as you possibly can.
At World Culture WWE for questions. You can follow Adam Cleary at
Adam Cleary, CLERY.
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Harry and the Hendersons, of which I am a part. Goodbye.
Latest.
Was he a monkey?
He was like a Bigfoot mother. Oh.
Get in.